Chapter 13. The white Mercedes pulling up on the driveway reinforced my ego. Despite everything that had happened, I still had the number one client. There were few people who got close to a government minister, let alone touched one. As she emerged from the car, my lips moved involuntarily of their own accord. She walked as gracefully as her weight would allow, and Mrs. Kumalo moved forward to greet her. The minister was wearing a green African dress with a matching head wrap, both of which had pictures of Robert Mugabe printed on them like large polka dots. It was the design they had used during the last election campaign that had seen the party back into power. I shuddered when I remembered the youths in party t-shirts who terrorized Buduriro, beating anyone who suspected to be a member of the opposition. The minister entered and I gestured for her to sit in my chair. Not today, Vimbai. I want that young man to do it, the minister declared. I thought I'd misheard her, so I said, I beg your pardon? I've heard of this fine young man from my secretary. You know Mrs. Ndoro? She comes here sometimes. Rumors are going around the city that you have competition Vimbai, so I wanted to see for myself. Only the very best for the minister, said Mrs. Kumalo smugly. My head was swooning. If I had not held on to one of the dryers, I would have collapsed. This could not be happening. It felt like some sort of nightmare, the one that comes like a daydream when your eyes are awake and you can't discern fact from fantasy. Agnes was sniggering along with Yolanda. My knees felt wobbly, so I crossed over to the cash desk, sat down, and poured myself a glass of water. My entire career flashed before my very eyes. Come on, Dumi, let's see you work your magic. Mrs. Kumalo encouraged him because he was rooted to the spot, looking my way as if checking out my reaction. There was a hint of pride in his face. I bit my tongue until I could taste the warm trickle of my own blood. Stand up, Vimbai, we have clients waiting. Dumasani had convinced the minister to go for braids. They had bantered a bit, with her insisting that she was too old for that sort of look, but Dumi prevailed. Mrs. Kumala frowned a bit because they took in excess of 5 hours to finish. For the chair to be tied up that long meant losing money. As usual, Dumi had a trick up his sleeve. He took the extensions and plaited them in just a quarter of the way and left the ends loose. His nimble fingers danced on top of her head for an hour until the last one was in place. I had never seen anyone work so fast with braids before. The minister looked at her face in the mirror and blinked arrogantly. It was the type of vanity a woman her age has when, by sleight of hand, she is made to look 10 years younger. What do you think? Dumi asked, standing aside, admiring his handiwork. I think it looks lovely. It brings out your smile. You're trying to charm me. I'm as old as your mother. She tried to leave the chair, but he held her down. I'm not finished yet. That's just the hair. Now let me give you style. With that, he took the head wrap she'd worn and unbundled it. She grabbed a pair of scissors and cut it in half, right through Robert Mugabe's face. Mrs. Kumalo tensed and held her breath. The one piece he folded in two lengthwise, placed over her head, tying it round the back. He cut through what remained of Mugabe in the other piece and rolled both of them. An almost imperceptible smirk lingered on the minister's face as Dumi did this. He tied the piece of cloth around the minister's wrists as little bow ties. I don't know where you found this boy, Mrs. Kumala, but this place will go far. I'm going to tell the other ladies in the Women's League that this is the place to come. I'm telling you, you will be swamped with customers. We were already swamped with teachers, businesswomen, nurses, accountants, secretaries, bankers, and now, as if that wasn't enough, we were going to be swamped with politicians. The way Mrs. Kumalo looked at the walls, she said she was thinking of expanding the building once more. The minister admired herself in the mirror, paid her dues, and left beaming, her soul on cloud 9. The day ended with Mrs. Kumalo at the cash desk, drinking a bottle of Fanta and arranging bundles of money that were in a box. Yolanda and Memory were sweeping bits of hair off the floor. I got my bag to leave when Dumi started to speak. How about a pay rise? He said in his usual soft-spoken manner. Excuse me, Mrs. Kumalo replied, putting her bottle down on the table with a bang. I said a pay increase would be nice. He was unfazed. The girls who were sweeping stopped to watch. Even Charlie Boy strained to hear the exchange. You've been here less than 3 months, and you already want a pay rise. I hope you remember that you're still on your 6-month probationary period. I've been here 3 months, and look what has happened. Your clientele has more than quadrupled. Revenues have gone up. I don't know where you're coming from, but have you got any idea what it costs to run the salon? There are bills and rates to pay. Not to mention the cost of the chemicals, which has gone up too, Mrs. Kumalo retorted angrily. You're so ungrateful. There are people out there who would bite your arm off to have your job for half the pay you're getting. Have you been on a combi lately? The cost of living has gone up for us too, and I think it is only fair that you give us a pay rise, or else what? Mrs. Kumalo raised one eyebrow. Doomy shrugged his shoulders and headed for the door. Wait, she reached out for him. Perhaps you're right. Let no one say the Kumalos are not fair employers. I want you to understand this is not because of any threat you can make. It is because I care about your welfare, all of you. I will give you a 50% increment starting next month. How about that? Inflation is too high. I say 150% with immediate effect. Mrs. Kumalo let out an involuntary groan like a woman stabbed in the back. 100%, take it or leave it. With immediate effect, yes. Dumi looked at the other girls who tried hard to contain their delight, and then he looked at me. I was in turmoil, one half of me envious and the other half delighted at what he had pulled off. We have a deal then. See you tomorrow morning. The sun was setting as I walked through the Jacaranda's tree-lined streets from Baines Avenue to Leopold Takawira. Traffic was light today because petrol shortages were back. The few petrol stations that had any were rationing. I hoped I would be able to get transport all the same. Hey, wait up, a voice called out to me. I pretended not to hear and carried on. A set of footsteps pounded on the pavements and caught up with me. Haven by it, didn't you hear me? Said Doomy, panting. The traffic's too loud. I think you just thought I was a stalker. Listen, I'm sorry about the whole thing with the minister today. Don't apologize, it's nothing at all. I'm kind of getting used to it. My voice sounded gruff. I would never consciously try to take away your clients, Vimbai. That's not what it looks like. That's not what it looks like to me. At least let me try to make things up to you. How? He was silent. I began to walk away from him, but he grabbed me by my shoulder. I stopped. He looked in my face and did that puppy thing with his eyes, which he pulled on clients in the salon. Stupid me. I heard myself saying, great work with the pay rise thing. I need the cash. I need it badly too. For what, if you don't mind me asking? It's a long story, but let's say I was staying in Avondale with my Canadian friend, and now that he's left us, I can't afford the rent, so I need to move somewhere by next month. Stupid me. I did not like Doomy, or rather what Doomy was doing to me, making me feel second best. Me, the best hairdresser in the salon, and yet I heard myself saying, I was actually thinking of letting a room out at my place if you're interested.